Geek Week in Review, episode 36, and we're going back to the old school with just me and Sorrell, so stay tuned.
The Geek Week in Review.
Hello and welcome back to the Geek Week in Review, episode 36. If you're listening on podcasts, then please do continue to download, share, listen, all of those things. All our podcast listeners are very much appreciated. And if you're watching on YouTube, then do all the usual like, share, subscribe, etc., etc. Do check the description below for the gents details. And I'm once again joined by the one and only SuperSorrell. And as you can probably tell, if you're a regular viewer or listener, you can probably tell we are missing Mr. Ryan Speaks Geek this week. He is AWOL. No, we knew he wasn't going to be here. So we knew it was just going to be me and Sorrell. So we are just doing a duo this week, but we've got loads to talk about. Where do you want to start? Where should we start? I'll tell you what. Let's start with Doctor Strange, because the Doctor Strange trailer dropped at the time of filming last week's episode.
We literally finished, and that trailer was like there and it now. I was like, damn it.
Yeah, we were filming at the time that obviously the Super Bowl trailers all dropped, and you know we came off of the call and had that trailer. So it's been talked about a lot this week. There's been quite loads of theories going around, and it's quite a good time to kind of revisit that, I think, because there are lots of theories and people pulling the posters apart and all sorts of stuff. So it was mad though, wasn't it? Like really heavy.
It was the trailer sort of gave a lot away, I thought.
Yeah. There's a couple of bits that I picked up on. Obviously Illuminati kind of hint is one that I've done a picture for and I've done a video for, because there was a lot of hint towards the Illuminati, and it obviously teased what we think is Patrick Stewart's voice playing Charles Xavier.
They've either done something very amazing, and they've done one hell of a pull in the wool of your eyes job to make that sound like him, or even if that is him just playing someone else we all think is Xavier. But no, I don't think they do that to us. We did this when Spider-Man came out, and for months we were going, they might not do as well. And then we got everything we ever wanted. Like, could they come down off that high with this and then not give us Charles Xavier? So
what's interesting is obviously if we had discussed this at the time that it came out, there's lots been announced, and Patrick Stewart's actually addressed it. I don't know if you've read his
I haven't seen
response. Yeah, so he said something along the lines, and it's not a direct quote, but something along the lines of people have been imitating my voice for years, ever since I was on stage, like first came on stage or something. So it's either that he's saying that, you know, no, I'm not in it, or it's kind of taking that Andrew Garfield kind of playing us and, you know, trolling us kind of to another level, you know, that. But it was interesting because, like I said in my kind of figure photography, I don't think it's going to be the Illuminati that we're used to, because the Illuminati includes Black Bolt, it includes Namor, and they're two characters that they've not even teased yet. So to kind of have them included in the Illuminati, which is going to be alternate versions of the characters we know, it would just be a very odd move, I think. So I think that they're going to be characters that we know, and the lineup that I've predicted, just for the sake of anyone that hasn't seen the picture that I put out, is Mordo, because we obviously see him in the trailer. He's in that same room and everything as well, and he's an established Doctor Strange character. Professor X, because we heard him. Superior Iron Man, which is the Tom Cruise variant.
Because he was going to play Iron Man originally, wasn't he?
Yeah, and the reason why I think it'll be Superior Iron Man is because one of the things Tom Cruise famously said when he was kind of running for the role was that he wouldn't play it if they were going to cover his face. Such a Tom Cruise thing. And Superior Iron Man obviously has his face out. He's just got that kind of chin strap thing. So that would make a lot of sense. And it would also tie in with the Ultron bots that we saw and all that kind of stuff. Or we're saying the Ultron bots, but obviously, you know, the robot things that we saw. Mr. Fantastic is another one. And that's rumored to be played by, I can never say his name right because it's a really bizarre name. And I even had to re-look it up when I did the video, but it's the guy that played it in the original Fantastic Four films. And somebody zoomed right into the characters in the chair. I don't know if you've seen this on the internet, Sorrel, but they've zoomed right into one of the characters on the chair, and it looks like they're in like a one piece with like a white kind of emblem here. So potentially could be one of them. Another one is Captain Carter. That's one of the ones that I think is definitely in it, because they're talking about bringing Hayley Atwell and Peggy Carter into the MCU, into real life, following the What If series. But I don't think that they'd bring her in as a full main staple character. So this would be a perfect opportunity to kind of give us that fan service, show us that character, kind of here she is in real life, and then that's enough. Do you know what I mean? So if they had to revisit it, they could. So I think she's going to be part of it, and I think she's going to replace the kind of Namor, Black Bolt, you know, that kind of thing. And who else? Oh, and Doctor Strange, Defender Strange. I think Defender Strange is part of it. But my theory is that something happens to him, because we see in the trailer, we see him kind of, he's very beaten up anyway. He looks beaten up, if not dead. And I think that whatever happens to him in that scene is what spurs the Illuminati to get in touch with our Doctor Strange and our reality of him. So so that's my theory on the Illuminati. Got anything different?
I assume your vision makes sense. I assume they get in touch because I think they're like almost like another variant of like the transport, like what do they call them? The TA people, what do you call them?
TVA.
TVA. I assume they're like that, but like the next level up for like proper time and space issues. Yeah. And I wondered if they were going to be something like that, and they get in touch with our Strange because he's bent the universe so damn much it's irreparable. There's so many variants happening, and this other thing sort of appears because of what Doctor Strange has done. It's just a knock-on effect of looking into the future to defeat Thanos. Maybe that wasn't the way it was meant to go down in our universe. Maybe they were meant to die. Yeah, and that could be. I think it might link all right back into the Thanos thing, the whole looking into the future to win. I think that'll be like you've gone against time and space. This was never meant to happen in your universe, kind of a thing. Yeah. On top of that, you've then helped Spider-Man. You've bent the universe out of shape so much we have to take you out, kind of thing. And probably been to this alternate realmy universe where you can't harm anybody. Like your powers are like useless. Maybe that's where I always saw like the Illuminati kind of thing. And I agree with all your choices in the Illuminati. Except I think just because of pure nostalgia factor, I would love it if they included Magneto with Xavier, maybe.
That'd be really cool, wouldn't it?
If he could be one of them, or whether he's just stood with Xavier at some point. I think there would. I couldn't see Xavier without Magneto for some reason.
No, that would make real sense. And looking at the go on.
Sorry, I was gonna say one more thing I had about the film when I was thinking about it. I still think we might, because obviously there's a lot of rumors about Ghost Rider appearance and who it's going to be. Whether it's going to be the guy from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or whether it's going to be Nicolas Cage. And if it is the Nicolas Cage thing, I could see them doing that thing that Doctor Strange did with Spider-Man and stuff, where he sort of like pushes him out of his own body. But instead of you sort of see him come out, but then you see the spirit of vengeance, and then Nicolas Cage floating in the air, and Nicolas Cage can see the spirit for the first time. And like Doctor Strange does something to that spirit, like pulls the spirit literally out of him.
That'd be cool.
That like thing flies off into the distance somewhere to go and get someone else, basically. I think that would
be cool.
And then obviously you can almost hear Nicolas Cage's voice, your head going, "Oh my God, what have you done?"
No. No, that'd be really cool. The Magneto thing. I'm trying to think whether Magneto is part of the Illuminati, because there's been a handful of variations. So like Black Panther was involved at one point. I think Captain America was involved at some point. But there's definitely been variations.
I'm trying to think of what Fox characters or Sony characters that have already been in the films that are big enough to take on those kind of roles, and that they could use as like almost like the 3 Spider-Mans kind of thing. Who do we get from the original Sony-verse movies just one last time before we close the door on this like alternate universe stuff?
I think that the reason why I don't think they'll introduce new characters, the reason why I think they'll go back and use characters such as Fantastic Four, X-Men, etc., is because they're obviously going to be introduced into the MCU very soon. And I think that by taking guys out of those original 2 Fantastic Four films, by using those, it's enough to kind of go, this is Reed Richards. So that when Reed Richards, but this is the variation of him, this is this universe of it. So when they're introduced, they haven't got to do the whole origin story and stuff. They've also said that Chris Evans was going to appear as a Human Torch. That's a rumor. I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know how or where. But it'd make for a very interesting scene, seeing the Human Torch go up against Ghost Rider, wouldn't it? Like all that fire. But yeah, I'd completely forgotten about the Ghost Rider rumor. Actually, that's really funny. But I think when you look at the actual trailer, there's that whole kind of nightmare zombie-esque element to it, isn't it? You see like a zombie type of Wanda. You see a zombie Strange. There's that character that's got all the arms that, you know, the mirroring the kind of what we saw. Yeah. And I wonder whether Ghost Rider will be involved in that kind of element of it.
Yeah.
There was also a dinosaur in the trailer. Did you catch the dinosaur?
Yeah, I saw your still. I didn't actually, to be fair, I didn't catch it when I first saw it the first time. It was when you did the still and I went back and rewatched the trailer and then I saw it.
Yeah.
And yes, Savage Lands, could that be?
It's got to be, hasn't it? I think it's got to be. I think it's a very good opportunity for them to introduce us to a lot of different places. Yeah. So obviously Savage Lands would tie in heavily with X-Men. That would be my guess. If you're going to see a dinosaur in the MCU, you're going to think Savage Lands. Did you also catch in that trailer, and this isn't something I pointed out on that still, but in that particular scene, you also see him go from animated to real life. Did you see that? Yeah, go back and watch it. Trailer. It's literally a couple of seconds, like blinking, you miss it sort of thing. But if you pause it at the right place, and I can't remember who I saw it, so I've got to give credit where credit's due, but I can't remember who it was I saw it on. But there's actually a part of that where he's kind of going through different dimensions and he's half animated like he is in What If. So that's another reason why I think Captain Carter. Yeah. The other thing as well is that the poster, if you look at the actual poster, Captain Carter's shield's been spotted in it, hasn't it? There's in the fragments of glass, you've got Captain Carter's shield. There's like a Crossbones-esque looking character. I wonder whether that could actually be Ghost Rider. People are kind of guessing it's Crossbones, but it might actually be Ghost Rider. There's like Captain America's star as well, or the Red Guardian.
People keep saying about the star and the stuff like that and the shield and things. Bear in mind that new girl they're introducing has that symbol on her chest.
Yeah, exactly. American Chavez, well. Yeah.
American Chavez, yeah. She's got that. She has that on her. So when people point out that fragment that's got the what people keep calling the shield, I always say I think that's American Chavez.
Yeah, it is. I think so as well. Did you see the Deadpool? Someone reckons they found Deadpool in one of the shows. It's like if you squint your eyes hard enough and turn it this way, it looks like Deadpool. If you ignore this part and just focus on this part. The other the other thing is obviously we said about the zombies element that would tie in heavily to the What If as well.
Yeah, the animated.
And we've seen what we assume is that kind of superior. What do they call him in What If? Sorcerer Supreme,
wasn't it?
Sorcerer Supreme Strange or something, wasn't it? Yeah, and we've seen what we assume is him. I just think it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's Sam Raimi as well, so it's gonna be mad. And you think about his kind of Army of Darkness stuff and Evil Dead stuff, like it could be really dark.
Definitely. And let's not forget in the trailer we do also see Wanda visiting Wanda, and she's that be where she sort of sat on the floor, and that is the house, isn't it? That's
from WandaVision.
From WandaVision, yeah. So that's in her head probably.
Yeah.
So that looks interesting.
There was one line that we could leave the trailer on, which I thought was really interesting. It really got me thinking, and it's quite a jokey line where she talks about when you do it, you're a villain, you're a hero, and if I do it, I'm a villain, and that doesn't seem fair. But when you actually think about what she's potentially talking about, obviously Westview, she kind of wiped the minds of a town, didn't she? She kind of controlled a town. But we've just seen Doctor Strange do it to the entire world. But yet there's this huge debate online about who's the villain and who's the hero, because Wanda controlled it, did it in her town. Doctor Strange did it, and that was for the love of her life and that kind of stuff. Doctor Strange did it to the entire world for a teenage boy to feel better about himself. Like, it's when you put it on paper, that's what it is. It's kind of deal with your actions, like, welcome to the world, like deal with your actions. But no, he wiped the entire world's memory for Peter Parker. So it is interesting. And we've seen the scene in the orchard, or that kind of on the grounds of a farm or something like that. but they've also shown us now they're wearing the same clothes and they're almost in the same positions, but in like a darker reality as well.
Yeah.
So I wonder whether that orchard bit is actually kind of subconscious, or it's not real, basically.
I think we're going to see different versions of both characters. I think both characters in this film are going to be heroes and villains because there's darkness in each of them. And so I think it would be like, it'd be very hard just to point out and go, right, Wanda's the villain because X, Y, and Z. They've both got dark points. You see in that trailer as well, he gets reunited with his missus. Yes, I mean, is she dead in that universe, in the MCU verse?
No,
I know in the cartoon she died.
In the cartoon she kept dying. Yeah. No, I can't remember.
Was she alive in the Doctor Strange film?
Yeah, she didn't die in the end. She didn't die in the end.
I wonder how it's like all that kind of stuff. I'm interested to see that because we see her in a wedding sort of setting with Doctor Strange, and we see Wanda. Obviously she's lost her love of her life. Then we see her as the evil version. It's like, is there going to be a moment where them two fight over what they both want? Because like you had the love of your life kind of a thing, and then this other Doctor Strange turns up who doesn't have the love of his life, and Wanda sort of finds more in touch with him.
It's going to be trippy.
That's what I mean. I wonder if it's going to a lot of like intertwining bits and
there's even the rumor of Spider-Man showing up, whether that's Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire. But I think the fact that they've both been in the suit, it would have been very easy to film like a small piece. Speaking of people showing up, I know we haven't seen Peacemaker over here because obviously it's not been been streamed yet, but did you hear who showed up in the final episode?
Wasn't it the Justice League?
Yeah. And you actually had Aquaman and the Flash, like the actors who play them, actually filming. And the reason I bring it up is because what was really interesting is Marvel and DC kind of did each other a favor. So they filmed, I think it was Ezra Miller, isn't it, who plays the Flash? I think they filmed his parts while filming Guardians of the Galaxy 3 using their equipment. So it was like Marvel that did them a favor, but they did it the other way round for one of the characters in Suicide Squad. I think filmed some test footage when Marvel were filming, or something, one way or another. But James Gunn seemed to have got the two to do each other a favor, which is madness. But I did watch it. I went and had a look, and it was quite comical, like to see him and swear in and basically John Cena.
I'm not sure whether it's real or not because obviously I've only read things online, so I've refused to watch any clips. I want to watch the TV series, but it doesn't basically say go fuck a fish or something?
He says you turned up too late, you dickhead. it's just, and then tells them to F off or something. Like it's just brilliant. It's just, and then something about a fish, like you say, and then he looks at Flash and says something along the lines of it's just a rumor, and the Flash sort of says, is it? Like it's just like it's just, but it's just very like, and you see Wonder Woman and you see Superman as well. You don't see Batman, interestingly enough, not I can remember, but you see Superman
they're changing things, aren't they? Because technically Michael Keaton's Batman is now the DCEU Batman.
Yeah.
Because I think they're going, from what I've seen, because we saw him in the suit. Did you see the pictures of him in the suit this week from Batgirl?
Yeah.
So it looks like it's the original 1989 Batman. So to me, it looks like what they're doing is pretending 1989 Batman is all canon. Then he's going to be in the Ezra Miller thing with Flash, and he's going to be in Batgirl. So I think Michael Keaton is their Batman now for the CEU.
And they're just writing off Justice
League and everything. They're just sort of like keeping Aquaman, keeping the Flash. That's why you only see them two. Obviously, they'll keep Wonder Woman, and then they're going to use Batgirl, aren't there, as the new comer to the Justice League. So I'm excited to see where they go with it. If they're starting to get it in order now, should we say? As long as they give it a decent run. It's when they keep messing with it that annoys me. It's like either have a run with it or don't.
Yeah. It's almost like they test something, put it out there, and then pull it in too quickly. Like you need to let it. I mean, the Justice League was plagued with, problems and issues and all the rest of it. So,
but
it's understandable.
Yeah, the last Suicide Squad was good. Peacemaker, from what I know, has gone down very well. He's got a second season already. And I'm looking forward to the whole Flashpoint saga thing getting played out in movies.
Yeah, I love that as a comic book. I really enjoyed the comic book run.
And with it being, Barbara Gordon's Batgirl, I think they're using, I'm excited to see where that goes, because that does open it up for a laughing joke killing joke kind of film.
Killing joke, yeah.
I would love to see them do that in film.
Yeah.
At some point, they could definitely do a darker version of that.
Oh, definitely. Speaking of Killing Joke, the other rumor that came out while we talk about DC, I don't know if you've heard this one, is about the Batman. Now, this is where it all gets a little bit kind of intertwined. So, Barry Keoghan, I can never pronounce his name, is Irish. But you know who I'm talking about, Druig from Eternals, is cast in the film. He's cast in Batman, and I've just got to get the Stanley Merkel. I've written it down. I'm not familiar enough with my DC characters to know whether that's somebody like specific or somebody of importance.
Who? Sorry,
Stanley Merkel is what is down on IMDb. No, but then there's a lot of rumors that he's supposedly playing an unnamed Arkham Asylum inmate.
Stanley Merkel is James Gordon's partner at the GCPD.
Okay.
And one of Hangman's victims, unknown to many people. The rest of the family are criminals, such as Ragdoll. So he's interlinked with the villains, but he's got James Gordon's sidekick, basically.
Okay, fair enough. It's just there's a lot of people talking now that he's now going to be playing a version of the Joker, but as an unnamed, which I could see working.
He looks like he's obscure enough looking guy.
Yeah,
that's adorable.
No, he's definitely got that look, and I think that he's an established enough actor that it'd be bizarre to have him in a really kind of nothingy position in that film.
It looks like they're definitely wanting to build a universe with this film, because obviously they started with Catwoman very early on. She's gonna have a major role in this. They're obviously doing it from the young age Batman. They've got time to grow the characters into the characters we know, a bit like the Gotham TV series. I think if they take a slow and steady approach with the film, make them gritty and good.
Yeah,
slowly work the way. Obviously, they've got Penguin in this one, and he doesn't look as if he's yet to become Penguin, sort of thing. It's kind of like a mafia boss, isn't he? More than the Penguin we used to. But again, I think they're taking more of a realistic stance with this film, which I like the look of, to be honest.
You've just got to look at Riddler. Riddler looks like something straight out of Sword. You know what I mean? It's like, but no, I think it could work. I really do think it could work. What I'm a little bit disappointed about is I would have liked them to have kind of continued on from Gotham without actually saying they've continued on from Gotham. So kind of have him in a position where he's set up. Don't include characters like Alfred and stuff like that. Like, you've just got Batman at a younger age out there doing Batman things. And then that way, if it worked, there would be enough flexibility in the writing for them to actually go, you know what's canon is Gotham led into this, and then it would all tie it kind of all together. Because one of the biggest problems I've got with DC is they've got so many good stuff out there, so much good stuff out there, but it doesn't flow together. Like, you look at Titans, for example. Where does Titans fit with it all? It doesn't, because they've got Batman running around, they've got Robin, they've got Nightwing, got the Red Hood. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's so many decent characters in it, but it's just completely separate from everything else.
I would never be surprised with DC if their EU starts working, that they find a way of like pulling, your characters like Red Hood, Nightwing into the Batgirl sort of movie.
Yeah, no, that could definitely work. I mean, it's, we a lot is compared to the MCU and the way that they've done it, but they had a very clear plan from the very beginning how they were going to let it develop. Yeah. And every success just allowed them to take another couple of steps forward. Whereas that was kind of put together. Whereas with DC, they didn't do that. That wasn't the plan from the beginning. So you can't really blame them for it not all kind of tying together the way that the MCU does. They're two very separate things. And I think if we're in a position where we've got a decent Justice League out there, decent DC characters, decent Avengers, decent Marvel characters, happy days. Like, I very much just enjoy things for what they are. Yeah. I don't complain too much.
With the fact that one of people's favorite storylines over recent years, obviously, was the Rest in Peace Batman, where the I don't know what you call them, his harem, his children of the night, whatever you want to call them, and all the other bat people came out of the woodwork, didn't they, and started wearing the capes again. So I mean, that's what seems where they're going with the new stuff, is that Michael Keaton's going to be in it. Something's going to happen to him. I'm not sure if they're killing him off or what. I think they're killing him off. And then obviously Batgirl's going to take over. But I could see them, like you say, they've already got Nightwing. They've already got Red Hood. I could see them pulling them into it and doing like he was our symbol, and now we're taking over and running with it.
Right. Yeah.
And
that makes sense.
And then just leave the young Batman movies to do the Batman thing, and then let the EU carry on with those characters, like the younger Bat characters, and let them have the forefront.
It's almost like they're working like a prequel kind of thing. Because
wherever there's a Batman, I can never see like Batgirl working because he's Batman. No one's bothered about his sidekicks when he's in the picture. So you remove Batman, you then take the others seriously.
Yeah. Well, that's what I think works so well with Titans. That it literally started off with I can't even remember the line, but basically just like F Batman or whatever it was that they said. But it was just kind of like, okay, this is cool. Like Robin all of a sudden is a really cool character. Like I'm really behind and invested in this. Series 3 wasn't as good, I'm not going to lie, but it was still cool. All right, so there's your DC, your Strange. There wasn't much else superhero movie wise. There wasn't much else, was there? I don't think there was much else that popped up. So before we get on to toys and that, should we talk about another trailer that dropped? Yeah. I'm really excited for this. I'm not even going to lie. Chip and Dale
Rescue Rangers.
Featuring all the characters. Let's be honest, they were all, even Scrooge McDuck,
Scrooge McDuck, Roger Rabbit.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't see Roger Rabbit.
Roger Rabbit's on the dance floor with them at one point.
No way, I didn't catch that. Oh,
and so blinked. And I forgot the name of the thing. There's that that 80s dance song, and there's like a DJ cat, and he's like animated, and it was with a live action woman dancing with him. He's behind the DJ decks and on the scene where Roger Rabbit is and stuff, and there's just a load of random animated characters in there.
It's just like it just looks brilliant, and I can't quite it's obviously like a redemption kind of where they've been, because they talk about the time in the past and the time, don't they? But I love the fact that one of them's CGI'd and one isn't.
The CGI treatment.
The CGI treatment, and the way that they even make that into a thing, and all of a sudden it makes all these other films that have kind of had updated CGI films kind of tie into it. It's brilliant, brilliant writing. But obviously it's Lonely Island as well. Lonely Island are great with Andy Samberg and his guys. Mm-hmm. So I just think that if they're on it, it's going to be really comical. It's going to be,
it's a continuation for people that grew up with it. Basically, the pretending that the Rescue Rangers were obviously an animated series, and that now it's over, and then basically everything in the car, almost like Roger Rabbit, everything in the cartoon world is real outside of the cartoon, and they're going with that, and you see all the merchandise and things like that when them two, and they even had the My Little Ponies in the trailer, you saw Little Ponies.
Yeah, they were riding them at one point, weren't they? But they look like the modern version.
They were, they're doing that. It looks like they're doing that canon, like you say, one of them's had a CGI update, one of them hasn't. It's whatever the current version of something is. They seem to be running with it. Roger Rabbit was the old style Roger Rabbit. It wasn't upgraded in any way.
No, it's just going to be a real. I think what looks so good is it looks like a kind of film that you could take your kids to, and from a nostalgic point of view, you would love it. But it looks like it's written very much that somebody that knows nothing about these characters would also really enjoy it. So that's kind of what excites me about it. But there's a lot of people as well. Seth Rogen is obviously in the trailer as that Viking guy with looking right at your eyes. And you've got Will Arnett, which is obviously Lego Batman as well. I couldn't pick out where his voice was in the trailer.
No,
I'm not sure. Eric Bana, the original Hulk from the horrible Hulk film. And J.K. Simmons as well was another name that I picked up on, which is obviously our J. Jonah Jameson.
Oh yeah, did you see the live action cats fighting in the alleyway?
Yes, yeah. That was supposed to be cats, wasn't it? As in the musical Cats.
Yes, the cats, live action cats from the musical, from the movie version. Yeah. They were fighting in the alleyway.
It just looked odd, didn't it? I think it's just going to poke fun at everything. And the fact that Lonely Island were kind of put as a name as opposed to just Andy Samberg, and so that they actually mentioned them by name as a group. I just think it's going to be, they're a really funny duo. They've thrown out so many funny kind of parody songs and stuff that I just think it's going to be a lot of fun. And Yeah, I can't wait. What was the release date for it? That was the one thing I didn't pick up on.
I didn't see a release date. I didn't actually see one.
No, I
But
didn't
from
think
what
so.
I've just quickly Googled, it is going to be May 20th. So it's around the
Oh,
time
right.
of Kenobi. It's the next wave of things to come out, basically, along with like your Kenobi's coming out and your Bad Batch, and it's
Moon
with the
Knight.
next it's with the
Yeah.
next bunch of things basically that are coming
Yeah.
out, and they are advertising that all 65 episodes of the Rescue Rangers are available on Disney Plus, so go and watch, kind of thing. So
Yeah. Is it going straight onto Disney Plus? Is it
no, it's Disney Plus. It's a Disney Plus production.
Amazing. Even better. Even better. I might have to go back and watch all 65 episodes. It's
not that
just
many. I can get through that.
Yeah, that's easy enough. What are they, like 20 minutes long? Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll introduce Paige to 'em.
Definitely. Definitely. I used to love it as well. Like, I really loved Rescue Rangers. It was a really good show. But I'm trying to think of how Scrooge McDuck tied into it.
So they're all a part of it's called the Saturday morning TV. You had the Jungle Cubs, Rescue Rangers, Darkwing Duck, and DuckTales. They were all part of like a package deal that we didn't see this in the UK because we had Fox Kids and then Disney Channel, so we didn't see it. But in America, it was called the Disney Saturday Morning cartoon. They had like a whole segment of TV on like Fox that was dedicated to Disney before Disney had its own network. And then eventually the whole animated X-Men thing, just to tie into your thing this week, that whole thing happened, and Fox Kids got disrupted massively because Disney Channel came out, and Disney Channel took like X-Men, Rescue Rangers. It took all the big cartoons with them. And that left Fox Kids with nothing. So they just had Saban Entertainment then. They had like the likes of, they suddenly had all these other ones like Beetleborgs came out of nowhere and all these other things.
VR Troopers.
Anything that they could steal from Japan, repackage with a bunch of American kids on it and send it out is what they did basically to try and make up for the fact that they just lost half of its revenue.
And there were so many of them, weren't there? There were so many of them. That just the repackaged Power Rangers.
Oh yeah, that was kind of the downfall of Fox Kids because of Disney. It was Disney that caused it.
So essentially, we could see all of these characters showing up in this. Like,
that's the whole point. Yeah,
there's a lot of potential that.
I think if it does well, I wouldn't be surprised if they made like DuckTales and if they kept the little universe going there, because obviously they've got like Roger Rabbit in this trailer. That's a big name to be using. And obviously in that same scene, because I've got the still of it now, you've got Roger Rabbit, there's the three little pigs in there, there's the big bad wolf, there's loads of Disney characters just hiding in that background scene.
Oh well, I'm gonna have to go and have a little scout, see what I can pick out. But yeah, that'd be a really cool little like universe for them to create. I think that would be
looking fun at cartoons and nostalgia.
Yeah, it's just because there's definitely a nostalgia trip, isn't there? Like that's where things are at the moment, you know, going back and picking stuff up from 20, 30, 35 years ago and repackaging them.
Yeah, and as well on the just one last little thing that I noticed was on there's a bit where it's either Chip or Dale is looking at the phone and you see a picture of the cast from the TV series in Disneyland. And obviously in Disneyland they have a section of the park known as Mickey's Toontown because of Roger Rabbit. So I'm assuming that just like Toontown in the Roger Rabbit movie is going to be like a thing in this, and they're going between the real world and the cartoon world.
Ah, that would be cool.
So that could be where like all these scenes where we see all these other characters, they're probably in the cartoon world.
Who was it? Which company was it that just recently did the Roger Rabbit figures?
Oh, I don't know. Oh, that was Super 7.
Yes. So it's all
the right kind of reaction ones. Yeah.
It all kind of matches up now, you know what I mean? It's yeah, definitely. All right, so let's go on to figures. Do you want to go Marvel or should we go Star Wars?
We'll go Marvel first. I think there's a lot more Star Wars to talk about this time. So we might as well go Marvel first.
So the first one to kind of cover is the Thor and Jane Foster, the SH Figure Arts. I can never say that right. SH Figure Arts. That we saw their official costumes. Like they just kind of dropped. Like there was no big announcement. There was no kind of reveal. It was just like, here they are.
Here they are.
But they look very similar to what we saw in that poster that I leaked. I'm going to say I leaked it because it did kind of get picked up. But no, it was leaked and I just covered it. But they match up to that. So that kind of marries up any rumors and theories and stuff. I think it looks quite fun. I like the shattered kind of Mjolnir that Jane Foster's wielding. I think her costume looks good. I think it's comic book accurate enough. I'm not quite sure about all the blues and reds and stuff in Thor's costume. I'm not sure how that's gonna tie into it, because his costumes have always been very like Thorish, haven't they? You know, there's always been red in it, but they've always been very dark and metal kind of colors. So I'm not quite sure where the fancy colors come from, but I'm sure we'll find out. But they look. I mean, it's not a line of figures that I collect. I'm never a fan of their head sculpts. I don't think the Natalie Portman head sculpts is particularly flattering, but they produce decent enough figures and accurate enough. So that's one thing, which kind of leads on to Marvel Legends. So Marvel Legends have got, by the time our show goes out, they probably would have done their Fan First Monday. So anyone watching this now will know whether our predictions are correct or not. But I would assume, because we've seen those SH figures, there'll be some element of Thor included in the Marvel Legends side of it, whether that's renders or whether it's actually in-hand figures. But I think we're probably going to see something from Thor Love and Thunder. Because they could essentially show us those two figures without giving anything away now. They haven't got to announce the wave, similar to what they did with those Hawkeye figures. Just here's the renders, these are the figures that we're going to get. What other predictions do you think we're going to see? What do you think we're going to see?
Did you see the tweet from, I forgot who it was one of the guys at Marvel?
I think it was Ryan's
Ryan?
tweet.
And he sort of said, Monday's coming, we've got the thing coming, but bear in mind they're keeping it at a slow and steady pace for the year.
Yeah,
like a pace that they're happy with, kind of thing.
As in, don't expect everything in one go. Yeah.
Now sometimes he does that, and then they announce something absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
So there's no way that I don't know. There's no way the Star Wars team can announce that giant TVC set, and then Marvel just comes out with a few renders. They've got to be something to combat that. Surely, I know they're all one team, but they are kind of against each other in a little of that sense. They must have something up their sleeve. But the fact that he's put that tweet out makes me think there's going to be something good at this event.
There's lots of rumors about the Spider-Man 60th. And if you remember back to our interview with Steve, when I spoke to him on, I think it was Behind the Toys, not Geek Week, but when I spoke to him, he said there was lots coming, that there was stuff coming, and we were actually going to be quite surprised by some of the stuff. So there is a lot of Spider-Man stuff due this year. I don't think we're going to see all of it on Monday. I think we're probably going to see one or two things. Now, from a marketing point of view, it would make sense if they're going to revisit Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, because of it now being 2 months away, that we've 2 months since we had No Way Home, it would make sense then to jump on that last little bit of hype and kind of show us those. The rumor is we're definitely getting Tobey Maguire because it's the 20th anniversary of the film, and obviously the 60th anniversary of Spider-Man. So we're definitely getting Tobey Maguire at some point, but I think it would make sense, considering Andrew Garfield kind of became the standout guy in that film.
Yeah,
it would just make sense then to update that one that they gave us back in 2015, maybe it was. I don't know, but it's quite a long time ago now. So my predictions are we're going to see something Spider-Man. We will see something Spider-Man, because I put on my TikTok as well, like all the predictions, all the rumors that are out for Spider-Man, and there's a lot. There is a lot of Spider-Man stuff coming this year. So where they're saying, looking at that tweet saying that it's all come in and it's, don't expect it all, it makes sense for them to show us one or two Spider-Man figures, but not all of them. And then they release them throughout the year, because it's a year-long celebration. So definitely saying Spider-Man related. I think we're going to see something Love and Thunder related. There was talk about Mojo, an update of Mojo. That's potentially a deluxe that they could drop. And I think there'll probably be something X-Men related as well. I know I'm covering a lot of bases there, but they're my predictions. I don't think we're going to get anything else Doctor Strange wise until after the film, if
I think
that's all.
I think that's done for Strange now, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's just when you look at how Marvel Legends work, they tend to do 2 waves per film. Not necessarily a full wave, but they tend to kind of put 2 waves worth of figures out. And for Spider-Man, they've given us 4 movie figures. so they have to do something else. They have to give us something else. Surely, it's just the highest grossing film at the moment, isn't it? So
yeah, I would definitely. I'm thinking Spider-Man, definitely. I'm thinking No Way Home spoiler wave potentially.
Yeah.
But then again, why would Marvel Legends like to drip feed us? They don't like to give us everything in one go because then you'd stop collecting. So I've got a feeling they'll do like maybe a wave that consists of like Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, because they've already done the Toby as the Walmart exclusive. So sorry, they've already done the
Tom Holland one.
Tom Holland one as a Walmart, so they don't need to visit him again. They gave us a really good sculpt and stuff. So I could see them doing like the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, in like another wave with maybe Goblin, Octavius, maybe do the villains with Garfield thrown in. Have like a couple of releases on that. But I've got a feeling we might see some Disney Plus characters because we've not had some in a while.
That'd be good. That would be good.
And it's non-spoilery, so I could see them doing like the Zombie Wonder, because everybody cried out for that the moment that got shown. Yeah. I could see them doing Zombie Wonder. Might even come with the Ant-Man in the head thing, like you know, because you did that custom, and everyone's wanted one ever since. So yeah, I could see them doing that now, with like as a little accessory or something. But yeah, I could see them doing a bunch of the Disney Plus stuff, just to tie in with Doctor Strange, and because that would technically tie in with it if all these rumors are true. Yeah. So it'd make sense for them to do it.
Wanda and Agatha Harkness as well is another one that everyone's been banging on about. But yeah, I think that but there's also the new films. So we haven't seen the in-hand shots of the Hawkeyes.
Yep.
We haven't seen that. We've only seen the render. Obviously, the Moon Knight trailer has kind of shown us what Moon Knight looks like. So it would make sense if they've got a figure in the works to give us that.
Moon Knight's original trailer came out so long ago now that there's no way that team have not started work on a Moon Knight. There's just no way.
No, they would have known about that.
They can see the whole costume just from the stuff that's released. They wouldn't even need any backstage stuff. They could just see the costume. So
the thing that does strike me as a bit weird though is that the Bonebreaker wave that they announced, what was that before? It was before Christmas. It was after PulseCon, so it's in the lead up to Christmas. That's just come out for pre-order. Now I don't know if you've looked, because I know you're on your pre-order kind of no pre-orders kind of thing. But the pre-order for that is for the release in November.
All right.
So we're pre-ordering it now and it's coming out in November, which seems like such a long way away. It makes me wonder what's coming out before then. Like
Black Series is doing the same to us. Black Series are putting stuff out now that's not coming till next year. So it's like, what's going on this year?
Yeah, it does make you think. But like you say, I mean, the Black Series team had dropped such a big one with that Jabba's palace or Boba's throne room or whatever you want to call it, because depending which figure you put into it. But they did such a big one with that, has everyone talking. Surely the other teams have to kind of combat that, like you say. They've got to give us something that gets people talking.
Excitement.
Yeah. The only figure which I did find a bit random is like Blue Marvel. I know we talked about this. Not random that we're getting him. Like that's really cool. But it was announced that he's coming because the artwork was shown. Like the artwork by David Nakayama was officially shown, and he's doing a lot of the cover artwork now, which is great because his stuff's absolutely spot on. But yeah, they showed us that picture and just sort of said, yeah, this figure's coming, and they haven't done that before, from what I remember. Just kind of just shown us a bit of artwork and then told us.
I don't even know who that character is. I'm going to be brutally honest. I know he's one of the Avengers. That's about as much as I know about Blue Marvel.
Yeah, well, we'll go into it more when the figure's kind of officially there. But yeah, it was. But that in itself shows how random it was. That it's not like it was. Oh, here's a picture of Captain America, and then everyone was like, "Oh, cool, we're having a Captain America." Like, it's a character that not a lot of people are going to know. That, you know, it is a bit more modern. It is a bit more obscure. So it was just, I just found it really random. So I wonder whether something happened accidentally and they just kind of owned it, or whether that was something they're testing out. Because obviously last year we had a lot of the creator reveals, didn't we? So right up until Christmas, we had a lot of people like yourself who got figures, and that was the way that they were announcing things. But yet is it the first announcement of 2022?
Yeah.
I think it is. Yeah, the first announcement of 2022 was done by showing us the artwork on the box. So maybe they're testing the waters. Maybe they're seeing if that's, I don't know. But either way, by the time this show goes out, they would have announced what they're announcing, and we either would have completely missed mark or have something very exciting to talk about on next week's show.
I know it's completely not normally your thing, but the mech strike stuff that obviously we got sent to talk about this week as well.
Yeah,
from Hasbro and Marvel looks very interesting. It's obviously based on the kids' cartoons that are out.
Yeah,
Monster Hunter is the next section of the cartoons. They have sort of touched on monsters before because they had that TV series with Doctor Strange that also included Swamp Thing and things like that, and Dracula I think was in it at one point.
Yeah.
So yeah, they had a very weird, obscure series, and it looks like they're going all in on it this time with mech strikes, which is their like the superheroes don these giant mech armors. And they've made Legos and all sorts out of these and Funkos, and it's proper. They're going to town on this thing. But they've just released all the new line of stuff, and I can't lie, the new Thanos looks absolutely amazing. He's made to look like a big troll kind of thing. He's like massive with big teeth and horns, and it just looks awesome.
Yeah. What I found interesting is that they've taken the established villains and kind of turned them into the monsters, and then obviously the heroes are the kind of more mecha ones, suits, aren't they? Yeah. But yeah, I found that not odd, but it was kind of like you've got loads of monsters that you could have had the characters going up against, like you say, things like Swamp Thing and stuff. But instead they chose to say, right, well, actually Thanos is like a troll and Venom is a big monster. And what I did notice though is that all of the characters, whether it be the monsters or the heroes, they've all got that kind of monster eye that's used in the title in the center in their chest. So that's obviously going to tie into it. Now I haven't seen the cartoon, but I'm loving the designs. I really am loving the designs. I think it looks cool, and I love it when kind of Marvel do this and they kind of take their established roster and they kind of go, actually, we're going to twist it and it's this. Because it gave us things like Marvel Zombies, that eventually became this staple part of, what Marvel is. So many people love Marvel Zombies. So there's nothing saying that in 10 years' time, Marvel Mech Strike is, Marvel Mech Strike.
Some of the kids stuff over the years has been good. Like the Marvel Rising television series is how my daughter got into into Marvel, because that introduced her to all the female characters like America Chavez and Spider-Gwen. And obviously America Chavez is now going to be in the films, and as I know she's in the comics, but she's predominantly been more in the kids stuff than in the comics as far as I'm aware. And she's got there's some great characters in there where they've introduced kids to these newer generation characters and then made all these awesome toys, and now they're slowly appearing in the MCU.
Yeah.
So it's a great way of getting new people in the franchise.
Yeah, and it's the good stuff is that the lower price pointed kind of kids toys, because these are there's two very different types, isn't there? There's adult collector aimed stuff, and then there's kids toys. So when I take my sons, for example, to the toy shop, my eldest son likes picking up Marvel Legends, but for the price of a Marvel Legend, he could buy a couple of other things. So it's kind of, it needs to be something really, I think the last two he got was, who was it? It's the What If Star-Lord and the integrated suit from No Way Home. They're the two that he was like, no, I need to have those. But this mech stuff, for example, you go in, I'd happily go in and pick up a few pieces because it's fun. It's something different. So I like it. I'm always open to this, and anything that gives us an opportunity to customize or reimagine.
I'm about to say, if you fancy customizing, I already can tell you the Marvel Legends do fit inside the mech suits, because I did it on my TikTok ages ago.
Is it?
The 6-inch Iron Man does fit in the big Iron Man suit. Because I
remember seeing that, yeah.
Because I said ages ago, I'm really surprised more customizers like yourself haven't picked up on this, like especially this new Captain America suit that's coming, this big like suit of armor. If you just if you painted that just a darker tone of colors, it could look badass.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'll say it here. When I saw the images for that Captain America mech suit, I was like, I'm picking this up and doing some kind of shield mech to go with the shield agents, because I just think it'll look cool. I really do. It's just we've got the Mandroid bath that kind of goes with the shield, but to have that big mech, I'm all up for that, all in for that.
And obviously, the one thing that I've always said from day one is they are cheap enough that they're great for customizing because obviously they're 6-inch. So like the shields and things that they get included with them are suitable with your Marvel Legends. So like in that new armored suit for Captain America, it does come with the Venom style Captain America shield. So for those people that never picked up the Venomized cap, you've got the exact same shield, it looks like, that was included with Legends in that pack. And it will only be $12.99 to pick up, which is a bargain for some of us. So exactly. You give the toy to your kid and you keep the shield.
Yeah, I've done that many times. I'll buy you this toy, but I need that accessory. That's all right. And they do a trade-off. One thing I will say as well is that go on. No, go on.
I was gonna say one of the things that which like with these kind of things is going on to Star Wars. When they announced the 6-inch 5 POA Mandalorian, he actually had a better head than the actual Mandalorian Black Series, and people were basically buying the £10 Mandalorian to just pop the head off to stick it on the Black Series because it looked better. It was the right shape. There was something to do with the shape of the helmet in the Black Series wasn't quite right. And a lot of customizers were like having to heat out the toy and bend it, and instead of doing that and ruining their Black Series head, they just went out and bought this £10 figure, pop the head off, pop it on the Black Series. They didn't have to damage the original head then.
One thing I did notice, I went to toy shop yesterday, went to Smith's. Little plug for Smith's, but we went to Smith's. And I noticed that because there was a lot of talk in the collector communities because they had that House of X wave really reduced down, didn't they? So like the Xaviers were going for like £5 a piece. And I would have picked up like 4 or 5 of them just for customizing. So just a black body. But my Smiths didn't have any. They had one zombie cap that was reduced to £20, which isn't a reduction. They had one of big £20 stickers on it. A load of other lines, but their Marvel Legends lines, where they'd reshuffled their kind of Marvel aisle. And I don't know if it's the same for your Smiths, but the Marvel Legends line had slimmed right down. So where I went in there a couple of weeks ago, it took up like, there was, I don't know, maybe 20 figures long of just Marvel Legends on about 3 shelves. And now it was down to like 3 or 4. It was a couple of, it was a load of the Captain America 2-pack. Loads of those that were reduced down to $49.99 now. A couple of the Spider-Man No Way Home figures, but not the particularly sought after ones like J. Jonah Jameson and stuff. And then a few of these newer retro ones like the Falcon and Scarlet Witch and that. So figures that people would only really pick up if they were picking up the sets or picking up waves and stuff. And I just thought this is really sad because a couple of weeks ago I came in here and they had like literally 2 or 3 waves that were out. There was getting figures out on the shelf before some of the e-tailers were sending them out, sending pre-orders out. And then I went in here with the impression of buying something. I was like, I'm really limited as to what I can buy. So I don't know whether they've tested the waters. It didn't necessarily work the way that they wanted to, and they're stripping it back, or whether it was just my branch. Who knows?
Well, my Smiths, the Marvel Legends section's still the same, but Star Wars has shrunk to just the TVC lines because there's been no new Black Series in the stores for so long now. It's just the TVC and one little strip, and that's it.
Do you know what Black Series I did see? A Wrecker. Wrecker was on the shelf in mine.
Oh yeah, the Wrecker's in mine. Yeah.
I was like, this is ridiculous. Like when I came out of Black Series, it was because the Bad Batch I had set up. Wrecker was so far behind. I was like, I'm not interested. I'm getting out. Like, and I think if it had come out a little bit quicker, it would have been enough new stuff to have kind of kept me hooked. But that was one. And so when I saw it on the shelf, I was like, and I was sent it and I sold it on. But when I saw it on the shelf, I was like, that's ridiculous. Well, that's actually ridiculous that this one's here on the shelf.
My HMV have removed 4 sections of music and replaced them with figures and toys.
Wow.
Game Store in my area now only has 3 strips at the back of the store near the tills that has, like, down one side of the wall is all Xbox, down the other side of the wall is PlayStation, and then literally they've got the Nintendo stuff in the middle, right? The rest of the store is taken up with Warhammer, Pokemon cards. They've even got Disney princess dolls in there now. Hasbro has a section, and there's the Hasbro logo on like around the thing where it's just like Xbox and stuff.
Yeah.
Hasbro. They have a Games Workshop sign. So
That's
they're
mad.
slow, like in my, I'm not sure if it's just my area, but the game and the HMV are slowly becoming collector stores, not record shops and game stores anymore.
We've got quite a big HMV where we are, and it's a wide store, but you go in it and it feels like a collector store because all of the kind of freestanding displays are all figures. The two walls are all figures. You've got kind of like your new films out like right at the front door, but the rest of it is all figures. And you have to walk a good sort of like 20 foot into the store before you're met with any music stuff. It's all t-shirts, figures, you know, merchandise and stuff like, the blind box stuff. It's just, that's it. So game is similar to yours, but not quite as bad, like not quite as big. There's a lot of figure stuff and there's a lot of Lego. There's a lot of, like you say, Disney stuff. I'm gutted because many moons ago I worked in the game and I was a deputy manager in one of them. And if they were doing the collector stuff then, like I remember we used to have like 2 or 3 figures, like it was just kind of random little, And I used to think like, I was a collector at the time, but I was like, why are we selling them? Like people that are coming in to buy a Mario Kart aren't going to buy a Mario Kart. Like they're not the same customer. And now you walk in now, I'm just thinking, man, that discount card would have come in so but yeah, let's talk about Black Series. Go on.
I was gonna say my HMV, by the way, had the entire new Doctor Strange wave on shelf.
Did they?
All of them, including the red Doctor Strange with the big circle with the big portal.
The Defender Strange,
they had him on shelf. The 3 Jokers from McFarlane, all on the shelf with Batgirl. All the new McFarlane stuff. It was literally like a toy delivery had just dropped. And I was walking around going, wow, I'm so glad I'm out of this lot because I would have spent some serious stuff in there that day.
I've got the Doctor Strange on pre-order. I haven't been into a store yet to see if we've got it on the shelf, but Doctor Strange Wave is on pre-order. And where I've got it pre-ordered, I've noticed that 1 figure is out of stock. So obviously, as I've pre-ordered the Wave, other people are getting them at the moment because they're getting the way it's worked for the last year or so, isn't it? That they get certain cases. And I'm waiting because obviously I've pre-ordered the whole lot, and it kind of ties into what you're saying about pre-ordering, because now pre-ordering an entire wave is actually detrimental to you as a collector because you're getting stuff later. And it's kind of like, I don't understand how that works. You spend more money and invest more into the line, into the company, into the shop, but you're not getting stuff when it comes out, which is, you know, ordinarily it's not a big deal. And I'm not one of these that's kind of like, oh, I need to get the first video out, or I need to I'd like having stuff at a decent time. But yeah, so I'm dreading going into HMV now, because if I see them in hand, I'm just going, I'll go on in, I'll just get them.
Because I've got to admit, since I've dropped a load of lines and I've started selling up a few of my things, like I've had a couple of cons now and I've sold a bunch of stuff, I feel like there's like a weight being lifted as a collector. I know that sounds ridiculous, but it is. And I'm looking around my room going, I've got my little horror dedicated shelf, which I don't even review. That's just for me. That's just mine, right? I don't even take pictures of them. They're just for me. And then behind me is the massive Star Wars stuff. And I've got nothing on pre-order, and I'm just waiting for things to drop. And then I get excited and go, ooh, grab it. But the thing is, I've not felt the compulsion to go and pre-order anything or buy anything now. I've got over that bit, which sounds like an addict, but it makes you sound like a proper smack addict. But I started talking to my wife about it. Like, I feel so much better. She's like, that's really weird that like you feel that way. It's toys. It's a figure. Like, I know, but
it is strange. It is strange. I had a very similar feeling when I pulled out from Black Series. Like I really enjoyed having Marvel Black Series, and I've got a few other lines like the odd Ghostbusters here and Jurassic Park there and stuff. But they were the 2 main ones, and there was so much coming that actually shelving one and kind of going, you know what? And like you say, selling it and kind of going, you know what? This one's sold and done, and it's out of my collection. It does, a weight being lifted is a good way of saying it. But yeah, I know what you're saying.
I generally thought the FOMO effect would kick in by now, because I am rubbish when it comes to sticking to my guns. I'm terrible. But I have sticking to it this time, because I've not felt that. I've not felt like all the Doctor Strange stuff came out, and I was just like, oh, it's cool when I see like your pictures or I see the people's reviews. I kind of sit and watch them, enjoy them.
Yeah,
I don't have that thing to go out and buy them. I'm like, no, I'm not bothered. I'm fine.
No, it's exactly the same for me with Star Wars. Like I love the stuff, and I love watching the reviews and that, but it's not. There's no intent. There's no need for me to go and buy. But with that said, when I went out to Smith's, I took my son to go and buy something, and he had Christmas vouchers and stuff, and I was just like, he was like, "Oh, we'll buy you a toy." And I was like, "Yeah, we will." And I thought to myself, you know what I'll do is I'll grab a 3 3/4 inch Star Wars figure, like just for the sake of it, just to see what they're all about. And there was none there. They literally had like 2 or 3, like 15 of the same 2 or 3, and I was like, I don't need any of those. But if they had a decent like stocking of them, I probably would have picked one up, and then I probably would have picked another up, and and then just been hooked again. But yeah, but because there wasn't there, I didn't. But no, it is interesting though that's how it works, because it's funny, isn't it? How I enjoy watching the Star Wars stuff more than I did when I collected it, because I don't
collect it.
That's weird. But let's talk about Star Wars. Let's talk about Star Wars, because they had lots going on, didn't they? With the
had quite a few announcements this week for Star Wars. So first thing that popped up this week, again, it's more from the kids' line, but I do enjoy it, and that's the Disney Toy Box.
Mm-hmm.
So the Disney Toy Box came out this week with the Boba Fett and Stormtrooper number 24 in the collection. It's a 2-pack that's coming out. It's the Remnants Trooper from looking at it. So it's the new styles, like, well, the sanded up, mudded Stormtroopers. I can describe them, innit? They call themselves the Remnants. And then you've got Boba Fett in his new, with his black underlay suit and stuff like that. So it is different from the one we've had previously. So it does look pretty good. But the one that everyone's kind of jumped on is the Shadow Trooper and R2Q5. Random. I know it's just a repaint, but still R2Q5 is a random little droid to include. Not many people know who that is. Then the Shadow Trooper as well is obviously just a repainted white Stormtrooper, let's be honest. But either way, we've not had Disney do any toy box in a while, so at least they're still going with the line. I'm hoping to see some new stuff drop, because we've never had an Obi-Wan Kenobi in that line. We've never had one. So I'm hoping, of all the figures they've done, they've never given us Obi-Wan. So I'm hoping we're going to get the new Ewan McGregor Obi-Wan to go with the series. I'm hoping that's where they're going to go with it. But yeah, they're available on DisneyStore.com right now. Not available in the UK as of yet.
I must admit, that's one line that I miss not having a Disney store in my town for, because when we had our Disney store, and it was only a pop-up store, but it was here for 3 years, and they were always stacked with the toy box stuff. And I picked up quite a few because of how good they look. Even just, I think the first one I picked up was Wreck-It Ralph. I picked it up for my kids, and it just looked like Wreck-It Ralph. I was like, that's brilliant. It's such a good line, but it's one of them ones that I don't see on the shelf anywhere.
Yeah.
So,
and again, some of the stuff is good. Like I've shown over the years, like some of the stuff is compatible with your Legends line. Because obviously I got all of Armors for Toy Box just for Marvel Legends. I imported that thing from America, but it looks good.
I'm still waiting for that to drop over here. As soon as that drops over here, I'm going to pick up loads.
Well, they've recently done this. Have you seen the Spider Lab that they dropped over here?
Yes, I did see the picture of that. Yeah,
they've got the Spider Lab, which is pretty good. And your Spider-Man figure will fit on that little spider bike, by the way, because I did a picture with Spider-Ham and Spider-Man on the bike. I'd use the Legends versions.
Brilliant.
But the toy box Spider-Ham is better than the Marvel Legends one, just saying. Then the first sort of Black Series drop was Black Kirsten. They showed us his box artwork, and do you remember when I said a while back that it's just going to be a 2-pack I painted black, and we all said, no, they can't do that, surely. They've done it.
Well, we didn't. We were questioning whether it was real as well, wasn't it? Because it kind of just dropped out of nowhere. It was CNET, wasn't it, that released the images. And what made me laugh is so many people and I say so many, I'm generalizing here, but I saw a lot of comments of people going, well, he looks nothing like him. He looks nothing like him, because they weren't familiar with the character outside of Book of Boba Fett. And he doesn't look anything like the Book of Boba Fett version. He looks like the comic book version. Yeah. Which is a bizarre angle to take. I'm not going to lie. Like, I would have done it the other way around.
Well, I've got a feeling that it was a happy coincidence for Hasbro on this one. I think because they've already given us Dr. Aphra. They've already given us her droids. They've obviously given us, we've obviously had, Darth Vader and stuff, and that all ties in with her storyline. The only character they're missing from her line really is Black Kirsten. He's the only one that's missing. So I think maybe he was in production or in talks of production before Book of Boba Fett even dropped. Because when we spoke to Steve and stuff, he sort of said, didn't he, that they don't always know until we do sometimes what's dropping in the thing. Sometimes they have inklings in it.
Yeah.
So with that whole thinking of the process of how it all works, especially right now with the world being a bit different, They probably didn't know Black Krrsantan was going to be in it.
My
This
favorite
was just a
comment
happy
I saw.
coincidence.
Favorite comment I saw was someone going, "Why has he got a crossbow? He didn't have a crossbow." And then someone underneath went, "He did in the comic books," and then like screenshotted a picture of him using that. It's not a crossbow, is it? What's it actually called?
Bowcaster.
Bowcaster. That's it. Picture of him holding it, and it was just kind of like, yeah, you just got schooled there. Like, but it just goes to show how much of the fandom comes from these new TV shows as well. That when it comes to stuff like this, but yeah, he was. I was disappointed to see such a simple repaint because it's only really the armor that's sculpted new, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like everything else is
Chewie
pretty
got-
much the
got a new
same.
face, that's about it.
And yeah,
But I still think we will get a Book of Boba Fett version. Don't get me wrong. I think it's
oh yeah,
the fans have spoken too much about it for them not to do it, and it is just going to be an easy job for them to do. It's just scaling up the one they've already got. Surely, just beating.
and
up.
he's obviously still very much alive in the universe as well, so he will show up at some point somewhere.
Well, I was about to come on to that because this box art does show him fighting Obi-Wan Kenobi, which is one of the big storylines from his comic book and from Dr. Aphra and other comics. The fact that he did fight Obi-Wan Kenobi in the desert of Tatooine.
Right.
I've got a feeling, like I said in the original, like ages ago, I've got a feeling his origin story is going to be shown to us during Obi-Wan Kenobi. And I really wouldn't be surprised that Dr. Aphra popping up in Obi-Wan Kenobi because of that as well. That would be a great introduction for those characters. But yeah, just the fact that he's on the box artwork, they've used the cover artwork from the comics of him fighting him. So it's too much of a coincidence that
It makes
Kenobi's coming
sense.
out soon.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So that was the first one. Then we moved on to TVC. We got 3 new TVC figures as a part of the Bring Home the Bounty collection. This is the final week of Bring Home the Bounty. They haven't announced whether they're going to get any more bonus bounties, but this is the last week of the bounties. And they're giving us Axe Woves. Yeah, Crickets is what's needed there. Yep.
Who's that?
So he's the guy from Mandalorian that was with Sasha Banks and Bo-Katan. He was the male. Right. Oh, okay. He was the guy that nobody cared about. Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
As soon as we saw Bo-Katan, I was like, ooh, and then you saw the WWE girl, and you're like, yeah, dude, I know you from wrestling. And then he's just like, yeah, we don't care about you anymore.
Yeah. I was like, oh, okay, the guy.
It's the guy.
That makes sense. I'm surprised they've waited this long. Like, it would have made sense to have just kind of, surely they could have done that one quicker than they done some of the others because of it being a male buck.
Everyone, as soon as that came out, went, that the people have already been using that loyalist. Is it called the loyalist? The blue, the all blue?
Yeah.
Everyone's just been using, in all the photos I've seen, everyone's just stood him at the side of the Sasha Banks and Bo-Katan. He's not really needed, is it? Let's be honest. He's a little background character by comparison, but we've got him nonetheless. And then, of course, speaking of the devil, obviously, then we got Cosca Reeves in her 3-inch form. She was bound to come out. I wouldn't be surprised if she was in other things going forward. She's too much of a big character now. Everyone fell in love with her when she came out. Obviously, a lot of kids know who she is from wrestling. It gets a younger audience watching as well. Star Wars and wrestling, kind of the same age demographic sometimes with young boys. So I could see them using her again. And then obviously to go with the we've got Miggs Mayfield in his Morak suit to go with our, what do you call him? The Mando in his Morak suit, which just looks like a Morak trooper. Let's be honest, you don't really need.
No.
I do like those kind of figures, like you say, because they do double up. So like I've got like your Han and Luke in the Stormtrooper outfits, and I usually use them with Darth Vader as the Stormtroopers. But they can double up as the heroes if you need them to. So they are worth grabbing for dioramas and stuff. So that was your vintage stuff. Then I think the best announcement of the week came out, which was obviously the Cad Bane coming to us again. And everyone did the same thing they did when they saw the Krrsantan one, and all the things that I was reading, everyone was going, "Oh my god, they've given us the Book of Boba Fett Cad Bane." Like, it's not the Book of Boba Fett Cad Bane. It's Bad Batch.
Read the box.
Everyone jumped to the conclusion. Yeah, and like you say, it's because there's a whole new audience now watching because of that TV series. And yeah, this is Cad Bane from the Bad Batch, so it's the scene from when he fought the Bad Batch guys, and he's coming. He's called Braca. Is this the style? I don't know what that means, but it's his appearance from his.
Yeah, I like the look of it. I'm a big Cad Bane fan. I love Cad Bane, but the original one still is my favorite. I'd pick this one up if I didn't have, well, I don't have one anymore, but if I still collected Black Series, I don't think I would necessarily jump on this one.
That's what a lot of people are
because
saying.
yeah. But with that said, it did come onto Amazon and it sold out almost straight away in the UK.
Because we do that thing, don't we? Where it's like with Marvel Legends, we all do the same thing. We all go, I'm not buying that. Pre-order.
Yeah. I must admit, someone posted saying Cad Bane's on Amazon, and I still clicked the link and tried to get him. And I was like, I don't need him, but it was Cad Bane. It was like kitty litter, like it was like, but yeah.
I think these characters, they're giving us them because but I do think the Book of Boba Fett line will come out eventually. They're just giving us these variants first because nobody's gonna buy the Bad Batch version once these Boba Fett versions out. Nobody on the planet's going to be buying it, so they need to release these versions now, then give us the improved upon ones next year.
But it's even like you said earlier, it's even if they knew that he was going to show up
again. It could have just been something that happy accident. It was already in the pipeline.
Yeah, you've got your Clone Wars Cad Bane, and where else has he shown up? He's shown up in Bad Batch, so let's do a Bad Batch version.
So out of all these figures that have been announced, the scary part is Cad Bane's the first one to come out, which is not until December of this year. He's not due out until December.
That's madness.
The TVC figures are due. Where's my little list here? The TVC figures are going to be available late fall 2022. So they're not around till Christmas. And Black Kirstan's not even available till summer of 2023.
That's crazy.
A whole year and a half away for Black Kirstan.
That is a long time.
Like you're saying with Marvel Legends, what is in the pipeline for this year?
Yeah.
Where are those? Because we know about the Bad Batch wave with Echo and stuff. We know about we're still waiting on the Book of Boba Fett figures to drop over here. What's next? We haven't heard a thing.
No. And looking at pre-orders for last year, it seemed like every month there was something that was due payment or due delivery. So it was like every month you knew that every couple of weeks something was being paid, and then a week or so later something else was coming that you'd already paid off. Whereas we're now halfway through the second month for 2022, and everyone's pretty much kind of waiting on nothing. Like it's bizarre. It is bizarre. It does make me a little bit concerned about all of a sudden we're going to get dropped loads.
Yeah, I'm wondering whether they're giving us a little bit of breathing space before the sort of, because like there's two big events that are happening this year. We've got Spider-Man's anniversary and the anniversary of Attack of the Clones.
Yes.
Attack of the Clones' big anniversary this year. So they did sort of announce in the pipelines the other week that we are going to be getting Ayla Secura, the new Darth Maul, Saw Gerrera. But Ayla Secura is obviously Attack of the Clones. So I wonder if they've already got a bunch of new stuff planned and they're just waiting to announce it for this year, or whether they've already had it in the works and they're just going to drop them.
Well, it's also as well you mentioned this before, didn't you, about the anniversary of Obi-Wan Kenobi? What?
Yeah,
A New Hope. So what is it?
So it's the anniversary of it'll be 40. Is it 40 years to the day that we'll have first seen Obi-Wan Kenobi on our screens in A New Hope, or Star Wars back then as it was known. Yeah. And it would be literally the anniversary to the day when the TV series goes live.
So the 40th anniversary taking place in May, surely they've got to do something that ties in with that. They've got to do something that ties in with that.
Well, from what I've seen, I'm not sure whether that, because like before they would do like Empire Strikes Back anniversary, the New Hope anniversary, and now they seem to have done away with those lines and just replacing them with that Lucasfilm 50th anniversary line. I wonder whether that's going to be the way they go forward with it, instead of doing all these little anniversary lines. Whether they're just going to whack them all under the Lucasfilm anniversary line logos now, just to unify them.
Yeah, that would make sense. But yeah, it's odd. It's odd that there's such an empty space.
There are a few more of the little things as well. Like Funko Fair is on right now. So Funko's obviously the New York Toy Fair was cancelled again this year. Apparently they were at London, but they didn't have a massive thing like they normally would. So Funko Fair was announced, and they've put out the Star Wars Visions characters. As they're getting pop vinyls, so everyone got a bit excited about them.
How is it that Pop tend to be able to get the stuff that's current out before? And that's what I don't get. Like, and they do. It's like Arachnite though. Like I did a custom of him, and we've still not had that figure. And the character's been around for, I don't know what it was, 2016. Funko Pops did it, but Marvel Legends still haven't done it. I don't understand. That's the one thing that frustrates me with Funko Pops, as not a Funko Pop collector, that they're able to get these things out so quickly. It's like Venom, Let There Be Carnage, for example, taking it back to Marvel. They had a whole Funko wave, and all we've had is that Venom from the first movie.
There were no kids line. There were not even a kids line for Venom, was there, from Hasbro?
No, and I would say that I was surprised, but I'm not surprised because we've had Alien, we've had Predator. Like, come on, like kids want toys that look mean, you know?
Yep.
So
no, like Star Wars Visions, again, I would love them in Black Series, especially these
they
two.
would be brilliant.
It's the two characters everybody wants, isn't it? It was the twins and the Ronin. Those were the three takeaways from that program.
But I wonder, because the one thing with Black Series though is they kind of they make the realistic versions of the animated characters, don't they? So I wonder how. But even then, the Ronin, like, you take it away from anime and you make a realistic.
It wouldn't be that hard to
people they'd still love it.
The twins as well. I know the purple and the weird costumes, but if you just turn that into just make sure you keep the head on, so you don't have to describe what they're like underneath with the Japanese anime. Just leave them as the mechs, as the suits. You can make that realistic if you wanted to.
Yeah, easily.
But yeah,
easily.
Other than that, then we had the Mission Fleet line. So Boba Fett, it's his ship. We're still calling it Boba Fett's ship, by the way. Just to speak on that, by the way, it was because I know we were struggling to think of it the other week with me and Ryan when we're on about the name. The name Slave One has never been in canon, and it's never ever been in any of the Star Wars canon stuff. Disney, well, not Disney, it was Lucasfilm, sorry, put a competition out there when Legends was a thing, you know, in the books. That fans could name the ship. And somebody came up with the name Slave One, and it was submitted, and Lucasfilm liked it, so they kept it. And that's what we've known it as ever since. But ever since Disney's taken over, they've not referred to it as that, because technically it's not canon. It was part of Legends, and Legends is gone.
So it was never referred to as Slave One.
Not in any of the films. It was always the fire spray.
That's really interesting.
Fire spray is the type of ship. So like the Millennium Falcon is only called the Millennium Falcon by Han Solo and people that know it. Other people, it's just a Corellian starship.
And then
that's all it is. It's a hunk of junk, most people call it. So yeah, it's the same sort of thing. It's only Boba Fett and that would call it the Slave One. Nobody else would refer to it as that because they don't know the name of the ship. It's just fire spray. So it does make sense when you think about it that way. It's like me calling my car Bertie. Nobody else is going to call it Bertie. They don't know it's called Bertie, do they? Think of it that way.
Is your car really called Bertie?
No, I just thought I'd use that as an argument. I was trying to just think of a way of putting it across.
No, but it does. It does a perfectly valid point, though. Perfectly valid point. That's interesting, though. That really is interesting. It's funny how so many people referred and how like pent up people got about Star Wars not calling it Slave One when it's not actually referred to as Slave One. Anyhow,
but yeah,
that's really funny.
And then the final big announcements for Star Wars this week was Gentle Giant and the Diamond Select Studios putting out some nice new statues for us, including the nice Bo-Katan without a helmet on. The one that everyone's going nuts for, obviously, since Book of Boba Fett, is the Sand Tusken Raider. Mm-hmm. It's a bust of the Tusken Raider. So everyone's going for that one like crazy online just because of Boba Fett. Everyone's a Tusken Raider fan now. And my personal favorite is the Seeing Stone Grogu. So it's Grogu on top of the little dome, and it lights up around the bottom and makes noise. And all the little blue writing lights, all the Arabesh lights up in blue, and it makes the noise.
That's cool. That's cool. It just looked like a really nice statue as well. Like it looked like something that you could put somewhere. You could have it in the middle of your dining room table and it would look okay, if that makes sense. Like, people might ask you what it is, but it just looks. I like the thing that has never appealed to me about statues and busts and stuff is they always look a little bit half finished, whereas that looks very complete. It looks very like polished. So yeah, that's cool. That's the cool. It's
the first statue that I was like looking at and thinking, I wonder if it'll fit in one of those little cubby holes behind me. Like I wonder if it'll sit in one of them quite nicely.
Yeah, that'd look really sweet. That would look really cool.
That was all the news from Star Wars.
That's still a lot though, isn't it? And it's what's interesting is each week we're talking about all the figure news and there's lots of toy news, but yet these pre-orders are so far away. So I hope we just, we got, when did they do Fan Fest, Hasbro Fan Fest? That was around April time, wasn't it?
April time, yeah.
So we have got something. I would assume they're going to do something similar this year. It would be silly of them not to, because, we're still very much living in that kind of same kind of situation that we were in last year.
So from looking at I've just seen online just while we're talking, NECA Toy Fair is going on right now. And they've just revealed a bunch of stuff via the same way Hasbro did the other year. So more Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stuff is coming out, and Swoosh apparently announced them. More Gargoyles just came out, and Toy Shiz has announced them. Bleeding Cool's announced Predator 2 line. So they've given loads out to creators again. Pixel Dan got the Secret of the Ooze 4-pack. That's loads of people have got them. Insane.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Started doing the same sort of thing. Cool.
I think it's just a very good way. I did mention this to Julia and Eric Leewald when I spoke to them. That I think it's a really good way of them doing those reveals, and especially when they, not necessarily when it's all just given out to creators. I think it's great, but it depends if you're watching that creator. I think when they tie it in with people that are heavily involved or heavily related to that brand or that character, I think that's really a really cool way of doing it. I hope that it's not just kind of, because otherwise what's going to happen is you're going to have the same bunch of people just kind of revealing all the different types of toys. I think it's definitely a better way of doing it than just kind of them being announced at conventions. So more of that.
I have been liking the fact that, like I said before, Hasbro have given creators that may not normally get things a chance, which I do like. They do share the love quite a lot, instead of, because they could very easily just give everything to Swoosh and Chartemus because they've got the biggest followings, or to Review Spot, but they don't. They have regular chats with Victoria's Cantina, whose channel is a little bit smaller than some creators, and they've been speaking obviously at Dan, who is majorly invested with the Marvel guys. And it's more, to them, it does seem more about the quality of the creator over the quantity of the videos or the quantity of the channel, which I do like. I think that's a good way of doing it. Like, if they like a person, they like a person, it seems, which is, I think that's a good way of doing it.
Yeah.
Not just give everything to the top guy, which is normally how these things would go.
And I hope that they continue this, regardless of how things happen in the world. I really do hope that this way of revealing things does continue, because I love the live streams as well. Like, talking about Hasbro, I love the regular fan live streams, and it's
companies like, because of this, it's made companies do it, and they've obviously put the infrastructure in to do it. I don't see that going away now. No. Obviously, it's a lot cheaper for Hasbro to host its own events on its own live stream and make advertisement revenue out of it. They must be making something out of it to do it.
Of course.
So doing all these things must be making them money, and they're not paying anyone to be there. It's like, I'm guessing that when Hasbro wants to go to San Diego Comic-Con, they must pay somebody to be there. Somebody must take revenue from it. Yeah. So it's a cheaper way of doing it. I don't think they'll ever go back to conventions like that now. I think conventions will be a different thing altogether now. I think a lot of these big companies are hosting their own events.
Yeah. Well, you look how massive Hasbro PulseCon was for 2021. That was huge. That's definitely the biggest one that they've done. Fingers crossed there's some kind of involvement for everyone for 2022.
And the best part is it's a worldwide audience. Normally when it's San Diego Comic-Con, yes, we're all watching online, but normally it's only the people that are lucky enough to be there that can see it. Whereas when it's online, it's viewable to the entire world, and the entire world tunes in. So, and
it's one thing when I go to cons as well, like the bigger ones as well. Let's just say like the MCM one in London. The panels I always found difficult to kind of fit in, depending on what time you get in there and what's going on and how busy it is and stuff. So if there was a particular panel that I wanted to get into, I didn't enjoy the rest of the con as much, because it was like, I need to make sure that I'm there for this. Whereas now you kind of just go in and I'm just enjoying it for what it is.
Yeah.
Knowing that I can come home and I'll sit down and I'll watch the convention at whatever time. So that's cool that NECA are doing it though. Hopefully that's a sign for the way going forward. Did you see that McFarlane got an award for the biggest selling toy brand of 2021? Yeah, but Marvel Hasbro kind of clapped back a little bit, because he kind of boasted on a live stream or on a video that basically he outsold Star Wars and Marvel and that kind of stuff. But the way that the award was, I can't remember the name of the specific award, but basically he was given the award of the highest selling toy line of 2021 but the way that it was done, you're Googling it, aren't you?
I am, yeah. I'm going to see what this is now.
The way that it was done is that Marvel Legends, for example, was each individually categorized. So it was the McFarlane toys up against the retro line of Marvel Legends, the MCU line. So all of the Marvel Legends lines were split into subcategories, whereas McFarlane didn't because of how it's put together. So yes, he beat the individual characters individually, but he didn't beat them as a whole. But that's not what he got the award for. So yeah, so he was boasting there. But the guys did kind of clap back a little bit, kind of going, yeah, it's all good. But if you combined all of the Marvel Legends,
if McFarlane's went up against Hasbro, it would be a very different story.
Yeah, and the same was for Star Wars, where they have the vintage collection, the Black Series, all that kind of stuff. They were all subcategorized. So,
oh mate, it's like all these. I love these things. I like that I get invited to things, right? But it's like the TOTY, the Toy of the Year Awards, right?
Mm.
They get announced because of what people's decisions are at that Toy Fair London, right? That is because of Toy Fair London. They have the awards that night, and I've been to them before. And like action figure of the year is Masters of the Universe, the Masterverse. Like, really? That's the action figure of the year? And it's just because the press people on the day of the convention vote, and it's like, are they really the people that should be voting? Collectible of the year was the Lego minifigures for the Disney Plus wave. Really? Collectible of the year?
Really?
It's very like, this should be like something that is sent out to like everybody to vote on. Sure.
Yeah.
If you're a consumer, you should have a say in this.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Just this random, it's like that random company that decides the top toys of Christmas. And that's because that a bunch of us creators, like idiots, gather in London for this little event called Christmas in July. And we see all the stuff that's coming out up until December. And you get a goodie bag to be bribed into voting for things. No, it's so wrong.
Yeah,
that's why I'm not invited to these events, you see, because I just clap back too much. Like, stop trying to bribe me for My Little Pony.
It's not worth it, is it? But no, I think that 2022 has definitely got a lot of ambition. It's got a lot of opportunity, and there's a lot of empty space to still be filled. So who knows? But by the time this show goes out, Marvel would have done their live stream, so we will know, and we'll no doubt about it, talk about it next week anyway. But I think that's everything this week. I think we've covered quite a lot. For going into a couple of days ago, it didn't feel like there was much to actually talk about, but there's actually been quite a lot.
It's one of them things where it starts out, there's nothing really going on, then Thursday hits and all this news drops, like, okay,
everything comes out. So yeah, all right, well, listen, we'll round it up there, and then we'll talk about what we saw on Monday next week. We should have Ryan back next week, unless he's just kind of been kidnapped. Like, he's not. Now, we knew he wasn't going to be here this week, but he will be back next week. So any big fans of Ryan Speaks Geek, fear not, he will be back. He will be joining us. But yeah, if you are listening still on podcast, then we do appreciate you. Podcast is doing well for 2022. So let's keep that up. Please do download. That's always an important one. And do share and click on the links, etc. If you're watching on YouTube, then you know the drill. Like, share, subscribe, and check the description for SuperSorrell's details and Ryan Speaks Geek's details. I'll put them in there anyway, even though he didn't feature this week. So do give them a follow if you don't already do so. But yeah, I think that's about everything. Nice just being a pair of us again. Sorry, it's like back in the day. We haven't done that since. Haven't done that since. Oh, that's a scary episode to watch. But we haven't done it since Ryan came on board with us on episode 12. So It's been quite a while since it's just been a duo. So yeah. But anyway, thanks everyone for watching. We do appreciate you. And until next week, Kiwi Geek.
The Geek Week in Review.